Hello everybody, in this video I have an art journal process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. This one is, well, I've had this Victoriana paper pack from 13 Arts as part of my kit for a couple of weeks now, and it's a very sort of gothic-y paper pad, but none of the projects I've done so far are really of that sort of gothic-y dark skulls and bats sort of thing aesthetic, and that is something that I really love, that sort of thing. So I thought it was about time I did something with that kind of vibe. So that's what we're going for in this spread. I just started off with my page. I put some masking tape, some wide masking tape up the middle there, just to protect the spine and everything. It helps reinforce it and stops other things like paints and stuff dribbling through and soaking through onto other pages, and then covered everything with a layer of gesso. I'm starting off, so I wanted it to be a very black and dark page, but I also wanted to do some collage or decoupage or whatever. But if I added my tissue paper and decoupaged it over the top of black paint, then you wouldn't be able to see the patterns and stuff. So that's why I'm just adding a layer, not all over the pages, but just on quite a lot of areas of this grey paint. I've no idea where that grey paint is from. It's like really cheap acrylic. It just says artist on the side and that's it. I have a feeling it was maybe from like Poundland or the Works or a place like that, so I won't be able to link it, but it's just grey acrylic, nothing exciting. And then adding black in a diagonal shape, as you can see there, and also sort of stippling and blending the black and grey where they meet, just so you know you don't get very harsh lines. I used black gesso there for the very simple reason that it was on my desk, and to go and get black acrylic paint I would have had to stand up and move like 3 feet across the room, and I'm super lazy, so that's why I use black gesso. That's the only reason. And then once that is done, I was just adding some Distress Oxide in black soot just around the edges, just to like soften them and make them more blendy and stuff. They don't look very attractive at the moment. For the most part you don't see the edges anyway, but it gave it a bit more depth and dimension and such. So here I am adding those tissue paper bits. It's actually decoupage paper from Simply Creative. It's like it's Halloweeny, spooky gothic one. You've got the grey paper which has ravens and like just a subtle hint of tree branches on, and then there's another one I'm going to use in a minute which is a much darker one, which again has like those dark black spooky tree branches or something. I don't know how old this is. I picked it up from a swap table a year ago, so I don't know if it's still available or anything like that. I'll have a look online, do some searching, but it's Simply Creative. That's all I know about it, and I am just doing that with some clear gesso to decoupage that on, because I think I've said this before, but when you use a glue like gloss gel medium or Mod Podge or PVA or something, it's fine, it gets your tissue paper on there, but then your top surface is shiny and not very good for putting more mediums on. They're not going to stick as well, they're not going to blend as well. So when I know I'm going to be putting stuff on top, I try and put clear gesso on the top of it to, as I said, so I can put other stuff on the top later on, paints and mediums and all that sort of thing. These bits I'm adding here, this is from the cover page of the Victoriana paper pack. The cover page, which has like a little example of all the different papers, it's this really thin paper, and obviously it's not quite as thin as collage paper or decoupage paper or something, but it's pretty thin, and I thought it was perfect for this, just adding in some of those pretty paper elements without actually having to add an actual paper and start ripping that up. To stick those on, I did gloss gel underneath because, as I said, they are heavier than the tissue paper, and then did the clear gesso over the top. So they are decoupaged, but being heavier, they have glue underneath to really make sure they stick to the paper. Next up, I am just going to fussy cut an element from like the fussy cut elements page from the paper pack. I chose that long black frame with the florals at the top and the bottom, kind of to just have something that I can use as a focal point for my page. So I just quickly fussy cut that out, but then went on and did something else different because I was like, I need more colour and more things going on this page before I start sticking down pieces and focal points and that sort of thing. So I thought, let's do some stenciling first. I did think about using a skull stencil, but I thought that would just be a little bit too in your face, skulls and that sort of thing. So I went for this stencil. This is actually the first ever stencil I got from Thompson's Craft Supplies in a design team kit. however long ago. I genuinely don't know off the top of my head. I have no idea if she still has it. I would doubt it, but I'm using the bits where you've kind of got the Harlequin pattern and then some little scripty writing, and then also another one here that just had the number 13 and a crown. And I'm using Bow Bunny double dot glitter paste in licorice for that, so nice black sparkles. Then adding, I think I've used this in every single project with this paper pack and this kit so far, is the Fabrica Decori Magical Paint, or just Magic Paint in red wine. Again, I keep saying this, it's like a brusho or something. You can tap the powder on, activate it with water, and you get this glorious, shimmery, bold colour, and I just really love it. Once I've added water, I am sort of just moving the paint around with my brush, make it look like it's kind of spilling all over the place. And then with that dry, I was like, yeah, we're going to need some stamping. So I'm taking my Kaisercraft Scripty stamp, which is one of my favourite stamps. I use it all the time. Usually I can't link it because they're hard to find sometimes, but I happen to know that Louise has some in stock at Thompson's Craft, or at least she did the last time I checked the website, which was like 2 days ago. So yes, if you've been wanting one of these stamps, like, snap them up now, because if you're in the UK, obviously, if you're in Australia, you can get Kaisercraft stuff easy, but anyways, yes, snap them up. She's got some other of the Kaisercraft texture stamps as well. I love them so much, and if you can get them, just get them, because they're flipping brilliant. And that's not me advertising at you, that's just my genuine opinion. I flipping love them. Get them, you need them in your life. Anyway, I had used white ink for that, obviously, because it was going on top of the black gesso. The white ink is the Versa Magic Dewdrops in Cloud White. I did add some more of the magic paint to my fussy cut piece just to make it more interesting. I wasn't loving the white on it. Added some black soot oxide around the edges of that. Those little wings there are from a 13 Arts acetate page called Wings, unsurprisingly, so I fussy cut those. The skull I am using is one of my own designs from my shop, it comes in either my Gothic Halloween collection or my Skulls and Roses collection. I did play around with bringing some more of my skulls in, but then I just thought, no, just one. I don't need more than that. It's just not quite right on this page. But I did need something else on that other page, and I thought, let's find like a title or a quote or something. So I've pulled out these, they're called chalkboard ATCs from Prima, like journaling card sizes. I pulled this 4x6 one out, cut off half of it, and then just fussy cut the frame shape. And then I went through the Tim Holtz snarky stickers, the bigger ones, not the smaller ones, to find something I thought would just, I don't know, I felt like with a little skull on there, some little cheeky snarky comment would be perfect to have on here. Just pulling out this Prima stamp again with the cloud white ink just to put something else on that black card, because just putting the phrase on top of it wasn't quite right. There needed to be something else there. The Versa Magic Dewdrop inks, because they're like chalk based, they do take a while to dry. So while I waited for that, I thought I would add a few of the Tim Holtz Remnant rubs onto the page. These are the Halloween versions. Again, they came in a previous Thompson's kit like a year and a half ago or something like that. And I was going for the less Halloweeny ones, just more the general ones, and I've added those in places where there's a little bit more white to be seen on the page rather than the black bits, because obviously you wouldn't be able to see them on the black bits. And then I added the white ink around my little phrase. I backed it as well on some red paper because it didn't look right, just the black on the black. It needed something else to lift it up. The phrase is something like, I think at times I'm grateful that thoughts don't actually appear in bubbles over our head. Just really made me laugh, so I thought that would work nicely. And then I think the last thing, yep, surprise surprise, I'm going to use white splatters for my last thing. I'm not adding too many. I'm trying to tone down my splatters at the moment because I feel like there are some projects where I go a little bit overboard. So just a few white splatters, but I do think they complete it. They definitely finish it off. And then I think I left heavy things on the skull area, and where I've put the phrase, just like put pen pots over those overnight just to help them dry flat, because they were kind of warping and bending a bit with the liquid adhesive, so that's why I did overnight, and now it's nice and flat. And there we go, it is finished. So there we are. Thank you so much for watching as always. Links to all products used will be in the description box. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat me down in the comments. There's a corresponding Thompson's Craft Supplies blog post, which will also be linked. I think that's everything. Yep, okay, I am now shutting up and going. Bye.